All right, Tepper.
All right, so it's now time for another surprise guest.
Yes, this one courtesy of Greg Powers as well.
Okay.
We have our surprise guest number 2, and joining us on our 1000th episode is UTSA head coach Jeff Traylor.
Oh, wow. Coach, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Excellent. How are things in San Antonio?
We're doing great. Just got off the practice field, so anytime you get to coach kids, it's a great day.
Well, Coach, first and foremost, I don't think we've had an opportunity to congratulate you on the new gig. I'm interested. Like you've been in the college game. You obviously were a legend in the high school coaching ranks. Is coaching just coaching, or is there what are the biggest differences maybe from coaching at a place like Gilmer to then now coaching there at UTSA?
Coaching's coaching. I mean, kids, there's two things they want to know. Can you make them better? And how much do you care for them? And, if you love them and you can make them better, kids will do anything for you. And I've got a fantastic staff that I know can make them better, and a staff that loves them as well. So we're really excited about being here. I have some great kids to work with and a great area to recruit to. So we're fired up.
You are entering this a program that I think it's fair to say could use a jolt, could use to get them over the hump. When you first talked with your guys, when you first addressed them as their head coach, what was your message to them?
That they had to accept me. They didn't choose me. So first of all, we had to get that straight. And I didn't go on the road recruiting immediately. I stayed in the weight room with those guys, and I'd go out and recruit afterwards. The most important players on that roster were my current players on the roster. And I wanted to make sure they felt that. So that was my message. I allowed them to have an individual meeting with me if they chose to. And about 68 of them took me up on that. And we just set up, some 30-minute meetings, and I listened and learned a lot. And we've moved forward since then.
You are taking over a program in everyone's tired of saying the word unprecedented, but unprecedented times. How has that changed the way that you do business, knowing that there have been times where you haven't been able to get together with your guys as much as you like?
It's probably the benefit of having such a background of being a Texas high school football coach is, that's pretty much your life. You improvise, you adapt, you overcome. You had to just be flexible and make the best out of it. Did I know when I got hired there was going to be a pandemic? Did I know the George Floyd situation was going to come up with the social injustice? And I'm going to a funeral right now for Bryce Wisdom, who's Rashad Wisdom's little brother, who's a safety on our football team, and who the young man just captured my heart and the whole city of San Antonio. So our players have dealt with a lot, but the culture pillar, our number one culture pillar, is to be people of integrity. And it's easy to be a man when things are going right. Where are you going to be when things go rough? And we've learned a lot about each other, from pandemics to social injustice to this funeral today. But it's definitely brought our team and I and our staff a whole lot closer together.
We're talking with Jeff Traylor, the head coach of the UTSA Roadrunners here on Texas Football Today. Get involved with the conversation, the hashtag TF Today. Coach, you cut your teeth in the high school ranks. I know you like your job, and I know you've liked being at SMU and Texas and Arkansas. But is there anything about high school football that you miss? Is there anything about coaching in high school that you're like, man, if I could just get that little taste, that tied me over?
Yeah, I talk to my buddies all the time. Other than the money and the ego, there's no reason to leave it. Your ego you want to know if you're as good as those guys are. So you try it. And obviously the pay, a high school football coach can only make so much, where in college you can get a little bit, more. Other than that, that's it. There's nothing better than shaping the life of a young man. And when you get, in Gilmer, we started those kids in kindergarten. So, I was there 15 years. So I had those kids their entire careers. I had them from elementary PE to intermediate PE to junior high athletics to high school. Those are my kids. Where here, you're still shaping young men. Don't get me wrong, but they're the best athletes in the country. They've had their tails kissed their entire lives. They're the best player in basketball. They're the best player in mini bucks since they were in third grade. These guys have had their tails kissed, and now it's a different stage of me helping them become a man. So it's still rewarding. I still love doing it. I can't wait to see my guys every day. But there's nothing like being a Texas high school football coach and having that impact on so many young children.
It really is. We hear from coaches all the time, from Texas high school football coaches, about how like the wins and losses are fun, but it's the time just being around the guys that is most important. And I just imagine that, like, right now, especially I know the kind of coach you are. You're a relationship based guy. I imagine that one of the hardest things for you is not going up and just throwing an arm around a guy after practice or when he makes a great play or something like that. That have you had to kind of train yourself in, as much as you're telling people, hey, distance, let's be safe. Have you had to kind of train yourself to adjust as well?
Yeah, I'm a big hugger. I'm a big hugger, and I've become a big knuckle bump guy. I told him, like, we had to create our own bubble right now if we're going to play. Mm-hmm. And so anytime we get around somebody not in our bubble, we've got to have social distancing. We've got to have our mask on. We've got to be 6 feet away. I saw my daughter last night for the first time in a couple of months, and I had to find myself. I don't know who she's been around, so I had to find myself. Of course I hugged my daughter, but I was mad. I thought to myself first, man, I got to make sure I don't get sick here because if I get the team, all that kind of stuff plays in your mind. So no doubt it's had an effect on all of us.
Coach, I want to ask you about your offense. This is a UTSA offense that's been a little bit stuck in the mud lately. When Shahan Giaraja wrote about UTSA for our magazine, you kind of you joked about it being a mutt offense. Your offensive coordinator Barry Lenny Jr. That joked about it being a mutt offense. Can you give us a feel for what you want this offense to look like? Because I think that's the biggest question about you taking over UTSA. Can you give us a feel about, like, if you could snap your fingers and the offense is doing exactly what you want it to do, what does it look like?
Well, it's going to be very coach talky here. You're not going to really like it, but I mean, we want to be sound, for sure. We want to be able to execute our football plays. I'd rather run a play, a few plays 1,000 times than run 1,000 plays a few times. It's just not my nature. I want my kids to be very confident. So we'll be simple, sound, but yet we hope we're not predictable. And I know that's very coach talk like, but it's where my core is. And there's certain things we could talk football all day here, but it'd be a different kind of conversation. But simple, sound, but not predictable. Obviously, if you score points, it's fun, and when you don't, it's not. So I want to play complementary football, and I want to be great on defense, great on special teams as well. So we'll be up tempo, but change tempos as well. Offense, no huddle, shotgun most of the time, spread the field, take our shots, have some fun, but sound and simple, but not predictable.
And then, Coach, when we're talking with Jeff Traylor, the head coach at UTSA, you made a point in your introductory press conference about talking about how you want this to be San Antonio's team. You want to get the best guys in San Antonio. You want to make sure you're recruiting there. Is it fair to say that you're not going to be paying for a lot of recruiters to fly out to Washington or California or Florida to pick up guys that you want to do the majority of your damage, from the recruiting perspective, more or less within the city borders?
Yeah, we're going to start in San Antonio and work our way out. It's not that complicated. I mean, if I can get the best 7 players out of San Antonio every year and get 7 walk-ons every year, that's 14 to 15 players in every class. 5 classes, 75 players. You get 75 out of your 105 on your roster. They're all from San Antonio. Alamo Dome's going to fill up pretty quick, and that place gets to rocking. It's the best place to play in college football, 72, and beautiful every day, no wind, no rain. So Riverwalk's right beside you. Win a ball game, go over the Riverwalk, have a great evening. Who's not going to want to do that? We're going to get this thing going. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I can't wait to win. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen, and I can't wait for it to happen.
All right, Coach, we got another question for you. I think I can speak on behalf of the entire DCTF crew when we say that we all enjoy the 210. We like the food down there. We got to ask you, since you've been there, I'm sure that you've gone out maybe to a couple of restaurants or even gotten the to-go order with all the Corona stuff. But what's your favorite place down in the 210 to get a bite to eat right now?
Coach Coker took me to the grill when I first got hired, and me and my wife Carrie, we go back there quite a bit. Big grill fan, Italian food, and La Hacienda is right down the street from where I live, so we go there for Mexican food quite a bit. So a lot of great barbecue too, a lot of great places. What's crazy, as soon as we really got here, I lived in a hotel until February. We got in our house in February, and then in March pretty much everything shut down. So with that recruiting rush all the way to February, we didn't get much time to go out, so we haven't got to go out as much as we wanted to. But those are the places we frequent when we go.
And finally, Coach, I don't want to end on a downer, but so I choose to celebrate the life of Bryce Wisdom. This is a guy that I know had a really special place in your program. The brother of Rashad Wisdom, and battled really, really courageously with his disease, but ended up passing away earlier this week. Can you give us a little bit of insight as far as what he's meant to this program and how you guys you're gonna celebrate his life? We're not gonna be sad today. We're gonna celebrate his life. Can you give us a little bit of insight about what he's meant to your program?
Yeah, like this morning I was picking out my suit, and my wife was like, you're supposed to wear black to a funeral or darker colors, and I'm like, baby, I'm gonna go in my UTSA looking suit because that's just who Bryce was. We're gonna celebrate Bryce's life today. That's what Bryce did every day. And I've shared this before, but when I was scrolling through my texts, we talked on the phone at least twice a week, and we text each other, all the time. And I looked, and on my birthday, he was the first person to text me on my birthday. On Father's Day, he was the first person to text me on Father's Day. He would ask me how I was doing so many times in those texts first before I asked him. That's just who Bryce was. I went over there. I just got hired. Coach Brown, my DFO, took me to see Bryce. He had told me how special the family was. I really did it because it's the right thing to do, right? And then I found myself in love with this child. He was just captured my heart like he did the entire city of San Antonio. And, man, Richard and Diana did an unbelievable job raising that young man like they have Rashad. And we just had a great practice because of him. And it puts perspective on your day when you think about what Miss Diana and Richard are going through today.
He was a remarkable guy, and we're certainly worse off without him. But we know he's gotten his heavenly reward. And he's Coach Jeff Traylor. He's the head coach of the UTSA Roadrunners. Coach, really appreciate your time. I appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of today. I know today's pretty busy, but appreciate you taking a little bit of time. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys in the fall.
Hey, man, appreciate all y'all done forever. It's unbelievable. I'm looking at Shane Buechele's picture right now. I've got the magazine. I still read it. I've not ever not read it, and everything y'all do is just fantastic.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate it. Take care, my friend.
God bless. Take care.
There he goes, Jeff Traylor, the head coach of the UTSA Roadrunners. That's awesome.